Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. And as you can see, this is your weekly astrology. We're going to be going from December 11th, Sunday, December 11th through Saturday the 17th. And it's looking like an easier week when I look at the charts. And we're going to be going through the signs of Cancer. Well, we've been in Cancer, but we're going to keep going to the end of Cancer and then through, all the way through Leo, Virgo, and in very beautiful balanced Libra. So I'm happy to say it does look like a much easier week, at least for us. I don't know about any corrupt politicians, but I think for us it's going to be easier. Anyway, okay, let me swap out cameras here. I'll be right back. Okay, so we have this amazing aspect that's happening all week, and it looks to me like this week, in a nutshell, has so much to do with healing and stabilizing the healing pattern, the healing work, which is always tracking patterns within and working them through so that they don't control us anymore, and creating new patterns that are in alignment with abundance, right? So if we really know that the universe is inside of us, that it within the divine spark in every cell, in the nucleus of every cell in our body, there's an abundance that contains everything that's good and wonderful and loving, and we can create lives that are as free from conflict as possible if we're headed in that direction. And this looks to me, hold on, let me grab my chopstick here. Looks to me like we have that opportunity with this yod here. So we have two 150-degree quincunxes and the sextile, which brings in, the sextiles always bring in, 60 degrees always bring in opportunities. So we have an opportunity for healing our abandonment issues, healing our need to come first, healing our any place where we might hold ourselves back from our courageous, beautiful selves, any place where we might make ourselves small and hide, or then again on another level, push, and create, like I was saying before, create conflict. We don't need to do that. Any place where we might keep running into walls, like with the Aries, that you can hit your head on the wall, right? I've done that before. I think we all have as humans. Or a cupboard or a drawer when you're getting up or something, it's just like, what? But Aries is the sign of I am, I'm here. And it's assertive and it's courageous, but we, along our life, path, I guess, on one level, our trail that we're blazing on our own, we each have a unique individual path. So on that path, what we're doing is we're trying to remember who we truly are and bring that through. It's not like we're trying to become something that we're not. We're just trying to become who we truly are, but we forgot. We agree to forget every time we incarnate so that we can work through whatever's in the way. So Aries helps us to forge the way, forge the path. But because it's, at the apex of the finger of fate, finger of God, yod, whatever you want to call it, it's connected to the South Node. Now, the South Node in Scorpio, so the South Node's always going to be the past, and that doesn't mean that we let the past just, we think that we need to let that go so we can move forward. No, it's never about that. The North and the South Nodes are about balancing out polarities, balancing out what seems to be an opposite and turning it into a breakthrough. So the Taurus-Scorpio polarity has everything to do with going towards what you want, what you really value, what really matters to you, your capacity to love, your attitudes towards love, your attraction towards what is loving and kind. And it's also, your safety and your self-preservation and all of these things I've been saying over the weeks, that Taurus is so much around being very determined to have the material needs met, to be patient, to be loving, to be somewhat introverted. I mean, it's both of these polarities are fixed signs, fixed energies. So that means that, we hold. It's like the cardinal energy of Aries and Cancer and Capricorn. They move forward, and Libra as well, the four cardinals. Sorry, can't leave out Libra. I just think of Libra being softer, but it's cardinal. And that energy wants to move forward. It brings through the seasons, right? And then we have the fixed signs in between the mutable signs, and the fixed signs help us to stabilize something and hold something together, bring something together. The mutable signs can kind of let things go, but then we get into the next cardinal sign, and then we're moving forward, and then we're fixing again, and then we're letting go. So we're in the stabilization period, but with Uranus. And this will last, Uranus opposing the being in the tight orb between Taurus and Scorpio. It's going to stay within this nodal axis until mid-July next. No, actually, it's more like February, I think. Hold on, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, the nodes in Taurus, the Scorpio axis goes until mid-July 2023. That's true. But this, the tight orb, because we're only doing 3 degrees here, this is really tight, that just lasts through February. So this is really important. It's important that we get this. It's important that with Uranus, we wake up and go towards what we want. That we find our unique individuality, our unique individual creative self-expression, that we go towards our, use your instincts and go towards what will help you break through, break out of the old structures of Saturn that says it has to be this way, right? So wherever Saturn is in your chart and whatever sign and house, that's where we have a lot of conditioning that we're going to need to break through. And we can look to see where Uranus is in our charts to see what's the best way for us, or the way we've done it in the past. But as Uranus transits around the houses in our charts, we get to break up more and more and more. And by the time we're 84 years old, we have a Uranus return, and that is a big, juncture of feeling free. You're so much more free. Well, the older you get, the more free the more free you can become if you've been working in the light. But now, if you're a corrupt politician, it's not going to be great at all. But anyway, all week long we have this aspect. Usually it just comes in and we have it for one day or a few hours, because it involves the moon. This is all week long, and I didn't check to see if it goes beyond. I was just like, wait, hold on, I missed this when I was, looking at the charts before, and now when I sat down to figure out what lasts all week, it's this, and this is incredible. So again, this is transforming the past, clearing out the past, going really deep. With Scorpio, we want to go deep, and we're courageous, and we're determined. We can be introverted, we can be kind of secretive, but more about, protecting your privacy, right? We can be in Scorpio very, very, so wherever this south node is in your chart, wherever Scorpio is in your chart, the south node is transiting through that house. So this is where we can be really determined, really resourceful, and maybe even sometimes kind of fixated, so we might have to learn how to back off. And with the beautiful polarity of Taurus, that's going to, and I'm speaking so much, I'm speaking so much right now to this opposition here, which is in addition to that yod that's going on, that finger of fate. So, but anywho, this polarity here, Taurus will help us tap into pleasure, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, and it's all about pleasure. And we all have, as spiritual beings, we are 100% just these balls of light and pleasure moving around. And we remember, we have in our soul, in our spirit and soul, oversoul, whatever you want to call it, we have memory of 100% pleasure in the spirit world. And then here we are on Earth, and it's dualistic, and we don't get what we want when we want it. We're used to going, Shazam, and then you have it. We don't have it that way here. And a lot of times we'll take things personally and feel like there's something wrong with us because we can't do that here. We just have to remember where we are. So, and don't beat ourselves up when things don't go the way we want. So with the pleasure force of Taurus, ruled by Venus, we can balance this out. This is like learn to back off when you need to. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. The Taurus is so much about the body. Aries is, I'm here, and then Taurus is, oh, I have this body. So take care of your body. Don't work yourself to frazzled, states of experience. Allow yourself to balance those two out, because learning balance is what life is all about. And then, so to talk a little bit more about this yod, it's involving Chiron, which has to do with healing our deepest wounding so that our greatest gifts can come through. And the opportunity is to be motivated enough to learn about yourself, to learn everything that you need to learn in order to get clear with your thinking processes. And also with the inconjunct, so an inconjunct quincunx here is always going to be an adjustment that's needed. So the adjustment is that is needed is to let go of the past, is to let go of anything that you can get so fixated on, or let go of, let's see, I'm trying to think of like some negative states of Scorpio. It could be maybe let go of jealousy, maybe let go of the need to win, and that would involve Aries as well. I'm going to speak to both of these now. Maybe let go of being impatient, impulsive. Jealousness can come through any sign, even in Taurus as well. So it's kind of jealousy and resentment. Jealousy just comes from feeling inadequate, or feeling like somebody has something that you don't, and you take it personally. It's just a insecurity, I guess, is the best word I could use. So if we can let go of our insecurities, know that they come from the past, we can always do better every day, every minute, right? So it's important to allow ourselves, and now I'm going to speak to Uranus and Taurus and the North Node in Taurus, of which we are all headed, is to allow yourself to be fully human, which means you don't have to be perfect, which means no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. No matter how good you are at your craft or your whatever it is you're good at, all the things that you're good at, we're still going to make mistakes. And just to, laugh about that, right? And then also with Uranus and Taurus, and because this is involved in this whole, everything that's involved with the South Node, which is Uranus, is involved in this yod. That's why I'm kind of going out of the aspect here, but I'm still in what needs to be said. With Uranus and Taurus, we're learning to accept that it's good. It's really, really good to have positive feelings. And, maybe because it creates health to have positive feelings flow through your body. And it creates health to be in the love state. That creates health in our bodies. But sometimes we've had parents that have raised us to be fearful. And they've also role modeled, maybe never said the words, but role modeled all the time that it's just not possible to be happy. So we can have these little, and this could be any sign. I'm not going to gang up on Scorpio or Taurus or any other sign. This is just part of being human, where there's a little bit of pessimism in every soul that we need to, sometimes it's like a healthy little bit of skepticism, which makes you, and now I'm going to speak to Mars in Gemini, especially retrograde, makes you want to learn more and go, wait a minute. Sometimes your bullshit meter just goes, and then you go, wait, let me research that because something's off. That's a good thing. Questioning all of our beliefs is a good thing because that's how we sniff out our false beliefs and heal them. Also, between Mars, because Mars rules Aries, with Chiron in Aries, and this Taurus, Uranus and Taurus with the North Node, and Venus in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn. Now I'm going to bring in the importance of trusting your instincts, because that also brings in health. And then letting go of false beliefs around how much we matter and how valuable we are. Like, do we have a false belief that we have little value? Because if we have that, we're not going to have the healthiest body that we can, because we need to believe in ourselves and we need to know that we matter because we are in matter, literally, right? And then I'm in this, finger of fate here. We have all week to get this lesson and maybe more. I just didn't look to see if it goes past this week, but this is what I'm speaking to now has to do with spiritual law, spiritual principles, and health in your body. And your spirit coming through, as strongly as possible in your body. But it can't come through completely because it would just blow all of our circuits, just like we have to have amperage in our, in our electrical outlets. They can't just throw the whole who knows how many watts all at once in our homes we would have fried. So, but anyway, back to the spiritual principles here. So first of all, we need to make sure that we allow positive feelings and not be afraid of positive feelings, not be afraid of being happy. We also need to trust our instincts. We need to let go of rejecting ourselves, that's where we might feel on some level, and all of this could be operating unconsciously, and this is our work to uncover it and heal it. That's what this polarity is all about. And that's where, when we let go of rejecting ourselves, we stop rejecting our love, we stop rejecting our instincts, we stop rejecting our just everything coming through us, our life force. And from there, we start valuing, and that's Taurus, and that's Venus. We start valuing ourselves more and more and more. And then the last piece of this is, and this is especially with Mars in Gemini, and Mars in any sign actually, and Chiron in Aries, because Mars rules Aries again. This is where we need to let go of suppressing, repressing our need for healthy self-assertion. We need to go for what we want. So that's why I always ask, whenever I'm working with somebody in a session or a reading, or it's usually both, but sometimes it's just a session, we always try to get in touch with what do you really want? and what feelings, what emotional reactions are coming up when you don't get what you want, because that's normal, that's human, that needs to be understood and experienced. So every time we have an emotion of like anger or anxiety or jealousy, resentment, resentment because you're not getting what you want and you're angry about it, or you're not getting what you want, or you're getting something else. It's, you're going for what you want, but then you got this other thing and now you have to deal with it. And it's like, what? Or meeting the pain of like, why do I keep working so hard to get this thing and I can't have it? Like, why can't I have it? Everyone else can have it. Why can't I? So you have to dig down deep and get, when you're going for what you want, you have to figure out what that real feeling is about. Like, what's the desire? What's the motivation? And that is Mars. And you can look in your own natal chart and see what sign does Mars carry in your chart, and what house is it in. And that'll show you where you will be. We will have a continual stream of motivation that needs to come through. Mars is our life force. It needs to come through. So with Mars in Gemini, so basically, just to go back to it, we want to make sure that we don't impede the life force that wants to come through. Because if we do that, we need to temper it, right? That's what temperance is all about. Like in the tarot, the 14th card, the 14th major arcana, that gateway of evolution has everything to do with tempering that life flow. But if your consciousness is open and you're headed towards trying to figure out what's true for you, if you're doing your best to get in alignment with the divine laws of love, the cosmic spiritual principles, then your energy is going to just move in a way that's in harmony, and you'll eventually get, even though it is a lot of work, Capricorn work, to get what you want, Saturn work, mastering something. It takes a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of patience, but you'll eventually you'll eventually get there. And then, like I said last week, once you have it, you've earned it. And even if it goes away or it's taken away for some reason, you can create it again, and you know how. So now, wherever, imagine if you're a corrupt politician or somebody who's greedy and doesn't care about other people, who is pessimistic, they're frustrated, they're awful, it's not it's not a happy camper, going on there. Those energies they work against yourself. And they eventually, it's like all the spiritual laws of love are inverted. And then they eventually they work against your life experience. And that is what creates problems in the body. It's when we suppress ourselves, when we suppress our healthy self-assertion, but then we also suppress our love, because we have to love ourselves in order to trust our instincts, and we have to stop rejecting ourselves in order to, believe in how much value we actually are, or we actually carry, I should say. Let's see, so what else? I feel complete. I feel very complete with this. Just know it's lasting all week, but this is a lifetime, in every lifetime, spiritual law to work through. Let's see. And it could be in any signs, but there's so much around the life force. And it reminded me a lot of, Neptune. We have today Jupiter sextiling Pluto, but I don't think it lasts all week. I didn't notice that it lasted all week. But this, notice that the Neptune square Mars is gone. And then Neptune square Mars had so much to do with COVID and, all that. Remember the triple, and I kept saying it for so long, like, don't take your masks off. Every time I go shopping in the grocery store, nobody's wearing a mask. There's maybe like 2 or 3 of us, and that's it. It's like, what in the world? And then what do we have after the holidays, right after Thanksgiving? Of course, all these beds that are full, and little babies and children that have, what was it, this RSV? Oh my gosh, was it a respiratory syndrome virus or something like that? Or it might be SARS. I don't know what it's called. COVID is a form of SARS, but anyway. It's just heartbreaking, and it was unnecessary. So I'm hoping that now that Mars is no longer square, because Mars was spinning, right? It will, when Mars goes direct, by spring, we're still it's going to happen again. So we're not out of the woods, and I'm waiting until way past next spring to see how things are. Because other than that, I never go out without a mask. And if somebody comes to the door, I put a mask on. Except for one time when I screwed up, and thank goodness he was not contagious or anything. But anyhow, so Neptune in wet Pisces and Mars spinning in a sign in Gemini that rules the lungs. It rules the, hand-eye coordination, everything that has to do with Mercury is like Mercury rules Gemini, eye-hand coordination, our mind, communication. It's also lungs, arms, and even shoulders. But I always include hands in that because of Mercury rules Gemini. So, but anywho, just to go over the weekly, overview, the only other one that I saw that is sticking with us all week is this Chiron squaring Mercury. And later on in the week, it'll be, actually, hold on, there's a couple. I didn't highlight this one. This one here. That is also all week. So I should talk about that first. Let's do that. So Mercury trining the North Node. So Mercury in Capricorn. And let's talk a little bit about Capricorn in the sign, or Mercury and Venus in the sign of Capricorn. So we're having a double dose, which is good. I don't think this is challenging at all. I think this is going to be really good for helping us get in touch with, so Mercury's our mind, it's our conscious mind. It's not, like Neptune, subconscious or unconscious. It's the messages that come through, and it helps us to articulate, it helps us to, like right now, I'm having trouble finding the right words. I'm trying to articulate the words coming through my feeling body because that's kind of the way I operate. But other people don't, and they have an easier time with words. So with jiving, these two with Mercury and Capricorn together, just to stick in for a moment with Mercury, just so, for teaching purposes, Mercury helps us find the right words. It helps us to sometimes negotiate in our brains, in between the hemispheres in our brains even, but then that's kind of bringing in some Pisces energy and Neptune when I go there. But it helps us to link patterns together. It helps us to translate energies and thinking patterns. What else? I'm trying to think of other ways to describe Mercury. It's everything to do with our mind and our communication, all the different ways that anyone can communicate. And that can come literally out of your body. Well, while it's in Capricorn, and especially with Venus there, it's going to be actions that bring home the messages bring through the messages of it's not, it's no longer, they're saying one thing, and I think I can trust that, and especially with this opposition with the sun. Now that Venus and Mercury are together, there's the question, Mercury questioning, what is this person really all about? What do they really love? What are their values? And because of the square to Chiron, it can be kind of wounding because, while Mars has been in Gemini, people are saying things all the time. And when Mercury was in Sag and Venus was in Sag, we had, and the Sun's still in Sag, but, we had that stellium here where Mercury and Venus were together. And it helped us move forward and go in a good direction. But now that it's in Capricorn, now that Mercury and Venus are in Capricorn, we're going, wait, is this the way we want to go? And we have that nice flow of energy, and Uranus is in there, influencing the North Node too. I mean, that's only 3 degrees. We can't really separate. But my program is doing that. So think of a nice flow of energy, contacts between your brain. Venus will get in there in a while, but for now it's just Mercury. And so we're thinking about what we really want, and there's that flow of energy to actually help us get it. Because Capricorn, above all, is very, concrete. Just think of concrete. Think of Saturn, because Saturn rules Capricorn. So what foundations are you laying in your life, and what are you going to build upon that foundation? That's the question. And that's especially true for today with the moon in Cancer, late degree Cancer, 26 degree Cancer, exactly opposing Pluto. We have the opportunity to build a very, very powerful foundation, right? That is secure. With Cancer, we're always wanting to be safe. It's very domestic, so we want safety around the house. I don't know about you guys, but I've had this week, I mean, this is Thursday, and I think I've had 3 or 4 days of rearranging things in my office just to get things so that they function better. So things are closer to where I need them, and energy's flowing better. I guess maybe better feng shui, but I don't know. So let me know if that's if you've been going through that too. So powerful changes at home, possibly for you guys too. It has been for me. It's been good. It's been empowering. Pluto is always about empowerment. Pluto brings things to light that we didn't know was there before, and then you go, oh, well, wait, this doesn't really work well. Why am I dealing with this still? Why do I keep having to move things around every time I want to do something different? Let's just get it set straight so that we can flow in an easier way, and so that we can feel better. It helps us, with Cancer, we always want to feel better. It's the sign of, all your feelings. So Cancer is also very good at imagining a better way, or imagining anything, actually. That's why a lot of artistic people are, they either have a strong Venus, Taurus, Libra, or Cancer, Moon. It's good for channeling art, and it's good for trusting your feelings and just going with it. Now, it can sometimes be moody, so especially with this Pluto, we can have one of those days, Sunday. We can have a day of like, I know the better way. Maybe you decided you want to rearrange your living room, but you're needing some muscle power to help you move the furniture, and they don't want to do it. And you're like, but I really want it. Basically, you have to be careful because there can be some emotional manipulation there between these two signs, right? Between these two forces of energy. So, yeah, we have to be careful. And be careful also that you don't hurt yourself, because Mars in Gemini is another aspect of Now, it's great. It's really, really great for learning and investigating, and especially with this opposition to the sun. And notice how Mars is at 14, the sun's at 19, and Mars is going back this way, so it's going to be out of orb pretty soon. I don't think it's even in there tomorrow. But this Sunday, there's a lot that's really good. We could have some news come out, or there's in behind the scenes is what I'm thinking, especially with Pluto and the opposition to Cancer. I think there's some behind the scenes investigations into corrupt politicians and all their operatives, and it's secret, and we won't know about it, but it'll come out later. We can trust that it will come out later. Mars in Gemini is really good for exploring. I'm saying with the sun in Sag, it's exploring. With Mars in Gemini, Mars rules our immune systems, right? Our autoimmune system. So if we've been having any trouble with the autoimmune issues, this is an excellent time to do as much research as possible as to all the natural ways to support your immune system. On a spiritual level, I've learned that it's to not be in situations where you're giving your power away, or where you're working in jobs day in and day out where you feel you have to repress yourself in order to stay safe, and that you do your best to, like I said, in the beginning, assert yourself in healthy ways. And with the moon in Cancer, and especially with the opposition to Pluto, there can be some healthy boundaries that are that come through on Sunday. So, okay, so now with Chiron here squaring Venus, I'm sorry, that'll come in later. It's Mercury. I went a little too far with that orange marker there. So Chiron square Mercury is the ability to assess and move in concrete directions with your mind to get inside your gifts. Now, the squares can be challenges, but they really, like I always say, they turn into strengths if you're willing to do the work. And the work between these two signs is to get your thinking going in a better way so that you're not questioning yourself, that you're trusting your instincts. And with Capricorn, you're going to want to be a little more ambitious and disciplined, and so this is good for a disciplined mind that wants to forge new frontiers. I'm going to say, like what am I in Star Trek or whatever? But I can't find a better word. But forge a new path, a new way of thinking, so that your self-expression is better. Now, Mercury rules siblings as well. So if you've been having trouble with siblings, sometimes when Mercury's moving forward, especially in Capricorn, there's some concrete connections that they could be challenging in the past, but then you can get to the place where it's like, oh, well, we both kind of want the same thing. Why have we been arguing? There's a meeting of the minds. And it could be the opposite of that too. It could be sibling issues that arise because one person wants, they want their way, and it has to do with like money or something concrete material. They want to control, or maybe it's them trying to control a person. This could also play out in the sense of someone trying to control a person's mind because they can sense into the place where they're a little bit blind or weak, or lacking some self-confidence in some area, and they can take advantage. You have to be careful. So this Pluto sextile Jupiter, that's still here too, this aspect there. That's through till the first week in January. So I'll reiterate that again. So again, Pluto has to do with things that come to light, things that sometimes we can eliminate, the process of elimination, because now it's up in the light and whatever was under there, you don't need it anymore and you get rid of it. And then you just have the powerful thing that you've been working through. So we can, with the sextile to Jupiter, it should be very healing, but it can bring through, and especially with Uranus, in Taurus, because we're talking, both earth signs, it can help us have some flashes of insight, some of those aha moments that can help you empower yourself, and that can be very healing. So that's actually I've been noticing that this is a really beautiful spiritual aspects for spiritual healing, healing your relationship with your power in your body that is deeply connected to your knowing that, you're one with your spirit. You're not separate from your spirit. You can't get away from your spirit because it's inside of you. We never have to go outside of ourselves to find anything we need to know about ourselves. Now, it helps sometimes, often. I think we always need those mirrors, right, in relationship to help us heal. But yeah, so, okay, what else with the weekly pattern? You can see we have Mars. This isn't all week, but Mars trine Saturn. There's the energy there, a natural flow of energy to break through an old pattern and to think outside the box, right? Because Aquarius, when it finally gets to where it wants to be, it actually knows something. It's our sign of knowledge. And it's our sign of inventing. It's ruled by Uranus, so it's our sign of inventing new things that are very unique, right? But there'll be, good reasoning, something that you invent that has good reason to come through. And then, of course, we can see that this Saturn square Uranus, that's the biggie. That is just, can't draw that thick enough or dark enough because we're in this for quite some time. It's in the tight orb until the 12th, so only until tomorrow. But it's the Uranus trine, the Saturn. I lost my train of thought there for a second. The Saturn trine Mars here, that goes all the way through to January 4th. And this is where, but the Saturn, back to the Saturn square, I talked a little bit about that last week when, that's the place where we don't like arbitrary authority. We don't want people making up rules just because, like Mr. Flump pops in last week and says, well, we'll just do away with the Constitution. Like what? I mean, what? And even, who knows if they probably would vote for him again, but many GOP members said, that's not what we're about. We're all about the Constitution. If we don't have the Constitution, then why are we in America? We can go back to Britain, right? Like, what the heck does he think? Well, I think we're seeing, his complete lapse of mind. Yeah. Okay, so let's go. I think it's good to go forward into the rest of the aspects with the moon for the day. Let me see. Wait, hold on. Did I cover this for the rest of the day, for Sunday? This opposition between, it's not strong. We had it last week. It's working its way out because the sun's going this way, and Mars is it's retrograding, so it's going further, it'd be like 20, 21, 20, and then this is going backwards into, it has to, I think it'll go all the way back to when it finishes up its retrograde, it'll go back to 8 degrees, I think. So, but anyway, oppositions are confrontations, conflicts, contradictions, mirrors, and you can create a breakthrough, but at first it's like, wait, what? And this is, to me, is like, everybody, we're looking at all these politicians because, of course, Jupiter and Sag rule politics and law and divination, and I mean, there's so many different things. But when we have the opposition between, so we have Mars in Gemini, where people are just talking trash, saying stupid things, saying silly things, saying whatever's just flying out of their mouth, and they haven't connected with the greater reality within before they just start, with it. And then because we had the square to Mars for so long, it's like the, collective conscious or unconsciousness, I should say, that's just flying through. It's like, oh, I have an idea. Yeah, like Trump. Yeah. No, I don't think so. But then the sun shining with Sag, and we're all like, is that the direction we're going in now? I don't think so. So there's that confrontation. And that could be, for you guys, it could be on a relationship level too, and it could also be on a directional level as to where do you really want to go? Because the sun, before we know it, by the 20th, 21st or whatever, we're going to be in Capricorn season, and or 20, 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there, I have to look it up. The first day of winter will be coming up soon, and meanwhile, we've had this whole month to decide which direction we want to go and to let go of the things that we don't want to take with us into wintertime. And remember that the polarity of Cancer and Capricorn are very inwardly reflective. We're talking introverted, shy energy, and it wants to be safe and secure and know what it has and know where it is. And, we all want that control over our lives, right? And we'll do anything to be self-responsible. We will persevere in that direction to get there. And with Venus, and we can see Mercury and Venus it's going to be quite some time, but they're headed towards Pluto. So we will have that little stellium that we've had before with these personal planets connecting with powerful Pluto. So I would feel like, for the rest of the day, really contemplate on the direction you're going and where you want to go. Are you moving? Are you headed in the direction that you want to go? Now, with this little semi-square here to, I shouldn't have drawn that in so thick because it's not that. This is a powerful aspect there. This is minor, but it requires action, right? And Mars is active. It requires action in order to feel safe, in order to get to that safe place that Cancers want to be. So that's, I think, the plan for the week there. And then for the rest of today, for Sunday, we have this double trine here to the moon and I love this energy together, Neptune and Jupiter. It's so good for spiritual work. It's really good for healing the soul, knowing that you're not alone in anything. We're all together. And then with the moon, we can all love each other through whatever's going on and help ourselves or help each other heal. But we have to reveal who we are first, right? Yeah. And then we also have this square. See this red line here? This square between, and this would be Jupiter up to Venus. So there's another strong aspect that's saying, and this one's challenging, while we also have this weaker one here going between the same planet over to Saturn. What we have going on, these two talking to each other are, what do you really want? How are you going to get there? And what do you really believe in? Because Jupiter's all about believing. So there's a challenge to understanding what you really want and what do you believe in, because you can't get what you want if you don't believe in it or believe that you deserve it. And that goes back to everything I said in the beginning. And then, let's see, notice this aspect of the architect here between the sun. So we have sextile here and the trine here, and Saturn's at the bucket end, right? So the sun is here. I should color this in just so you can focus in. So the sun is shining a spotlight in directional Sag that has its focus. Like imagine, the archer pulling the bow back, and it's like lots of forceful energy coming from here, and it wants to focus in on something over here, wherever it's pulling from. You're coming from power, and you're focusing in on what you want to solidify in your life, and it's breaking through all patterns. And then we have, oops, wrong color there. At the other end of it here, we have the power of Mars, right? Mars and Gemini. So there's power on both ends here, and we've been learning, we've been studying, learning, and investigating, researching, talking. And now we have the force and the powerful point, the focus is what I meant to say, and that it can lead us to something very concrete and substantial in our lives. So that's the longest weekly overview I have ever done. I'm looking up at the camera now. It's 51 minutes. Whoa. That was, just for astrological note, that was Mars retrograde in Gemini for you. I'm going to blame it on that. Okay, so everything about the weekly overview is still the same, so I'm not going to go over it again, of course. What I'm going to do is just focus in on the moon for the rest of the week. So unless I see something new pop in. But you can see that aspect is still there. You can see all the other aspects that are still there. The sun, no, that's new. That was, did we talk about the sun? Yeah, we did. We did. So this sun to Saturn sextile here, that's in for another day. That's good. This moon is now, so the moon is now in beautiful, loving, open-hearted, giving Leo, but it's in a square, and that's a T-square no less, to the nodes and Uranus. That's a lot. So Leo, like I said, it's all about loving and opening your heart, but it's also about expressing yourself. It's your like, powerful, open-hearted, creative self-expression if you're doing well with it. Leo is also, it's ruled by the sun, and it wants to identify with something. And what it wants to identify, we have the sun shining on Sagittarius there, that is helping us to be more free. This might not be an easy travel, day in the morning anyway. Or actually 8, 12, yeah, no, the whole day might be kind of sucky for travel. And Mondays are like that, aren't they? Sometimes. But let's see, with this T-square going on here and the moon at the apex, we have to go to the moon. No, not literally. We have to go to the planet, or the illuminary, I should say, of the moon, to work out this T-square with the nodes. And the way you do that when it comes to the nodes is you want to go to the left, and the left is the north node. So we're going to want to focus more on the future than the past with this configuration. And that's especially true with Uranus there, trying to help us free everything up, right? Because Uranus is just trying to help us wake up. And sometimes it can be kind of shocking, and sometimes it's like, oh, there might be a little emotional detachment, or maybe there's the real need to detach from the past in order to free up yourself for the future. And with the Sun in Sag, we're all headed towards the future, or headed towards breaking free anyway. We're all headed towards freedom. We've got freedom here and freedom here, right? Freedom's always there, but and then the moon is also quincunx to Mercury, and that brings in the needed adjustment to thinking about something. So whatever ways and it has to be a tight orb. See how we have 8 degrees here and 8 degrees here? So it only involves Mercury, because the quincunx is only a degree to a degree and a half, 2 degrees tops. But Mercury does have that trine to the north node, and is moving towards a trine to Uranus as well in tight orb. So there is a nice flow of energy here, but the adjustment is here. So I'm thinking that with the moon in Leo, we're just going to have to be patient and focus on the future and let go of the past, but keep focusing in on what you're really trying to manifest, because above all, Capricorn is about manifesting. And then the other little, we have this sesquisquare, try saying that fast, to Neptune. So Neptune is spirituality, dreams, visualization. It helps us to sometimes, get more sensitive or numb out. Either way, it's like Neptune can involve drugs and alcohol, but it can also involve being very sensitive, like noticing that you're more sensitive to things. Like even supplements, things like that. Like maybe you used to take a certain dosage of vitamin C, and now you're realizing you need to drop the dosage down, or anything else. You can be more sensitive on a body level. And with that sesquisquare, that just brings in with the moon a stubborn aspect. So it could be that you're needing to move and work and let go of the past, but something is still drawing you towards. So this could be a difficult, like working through an addiction. Monday could be a little challenging for that. So you might need extra praying and surrendering to your higher power within and without, and setting the intention to let go of anything that doesn't work well for you. And just, continually do that. And then meanwhile, the best way to work it through would be to tap into all this Capricorn energy and get busy working on something else, because that will be very helpful. Yeah. And before we know it, Jupiter's going to be, I think it's December 20th, Jupiter moves into Aries, and then of course, I think it's the 21st that we go to the first day of spring in Capricorn. So then we have cardinal energy here, and we'll have cardinal energy here. And these mutable signs, we're still going to have Mars there, but it won't be as challenging. So, okay, so let's move forward. Let's go to Tuesday. So Tuesday brings in the moon still in Leo, and we have a trine to the sun, oops, let's just do it this way. I can't do a straight line, you guys. From the sun to the moon there, a trine, that's a beautiful blending of the the energy of connecting with your heart, because the moon wants to connect, always remember that. It wants to trust your intuition. The sun is Sag is the sun is in Sag, and Sag is very intuitive, but it's coming from the heart energy. There's that nice flow. So Tuesday morning, starting off the day, there should be a nice intuitive flow. And then with the square, see how we have 20 degrees there, and that was building. So we're now moving out of it to Uranus, that moon square. So that half of that leg, remember that T-square, it's gone from the south node, but now it's the moon square Uranus. So now you can really move forward in whatever way you need to, free up yourself. But just keep going towards what you value, what matters most to you, and you're going to be just fine. But trust your intuition that's already moving in that direction. And don't forget that finger of fate, that yod is there all week long for healing. And then we also have an opposition, an exact opposition here. So Saturn to the moon, this is serious. So I want to say serious fun, and it can be, especially with the sun in Sag, but it's serious, like we're not playing around anymore. So there could be, because the sun will shine a light on something, and with Sag it can be politics or politicians, and with the moon in Leo, that's a pretty bright luminary there, and Saturn rules the government, so there could be a news dump Tuesday. And I know the January 6th committee is working hard to get everything together, and I thought I read somewhere, or maybe it was one of my beautiful viewers that commented. I thought it was December 21st, so that'd be that first day of, I think, the first day of winter, that they are going to, or they're trying to release their report, their criminal referral report on Mr. Flump. Okay, you can see you also have an inconjunct here. Come on. Yeah, forget it. I give up. So much for my spirograph here, right? So this inconjunct, this quincunx, is the need, this adjustment, the need for an adjustment here from what we're trying to bring through and what is coming through, I think, in the media is what I'm hearing with that one. That's interesting. And then the sun, I think we just need to hold on to our love and believe in justice. Believe in justice. And with that we'll get it at some point. Jupiter squaring Venus, that's still there. Remember, all week. So Jupiter, the reason I was tuning into that again is that Jupiter rules higher courts, higher law, right? Man-made law and spiritual law. But Neptune's in there too. But so, when it comes to source energy and spiritual law. But the deal is with that Jupiter to Venus, Venus really wants to know what the heck happened, right? All that investigation, what the heck happened, who said what, who did what, where they were going with, why they did all their things that they did. And with that, I'm not even going to bother to draw it in, but see that little semi-square there from Venus to Saturn that's been there? That definitely brings in the government. So I really do feel strongly that Tuesday will have a news dump day. But for us, it's just hold on to our what's the word? Oh wait, I'm noticing something else. Hold on to our knowing because we all have a deeper knowing, we all have a deeper belief in justice, and if we don't believe in it, even if we don't see it in this lifetime, we have to trust that it will happen. Okay, so I'm noticing here Mercury in a aspect of the architect. So we've got a double trine here to Mercury to Uranus in the north node and the south node here. Again, there's another, I would say if we don't have a news dump day where more comes through, it will at least be a more concrete way of thinking and getting to the truth and waking up, because we've got aha awareness moments here. Mercury in Capricorn is like, oh, I see it, because it's too concretely easy to not see it. It's like when the math adds up, you can't argue with the math, right? You just can't. And then they can see what happened in the past. So this can be on a personal level. These aspects, all of these aspects could be very good for us, helping us get to the place of whatever we're trying to manifest, get to that place of actually having it. But we have to meditate and be in that, always be in that energy of having it within already. You have to sit and meditate every day on what you want. And be in that space of actually already having it. So, yeah. Okay, now let's see. For today, for Wednesday, the moon's in Virgo, and we have it in a trine up there too, so 2 degrees. Yeah, so this is the trine to Venus, but it's moving forward and it'll be trining both. But let's focus in on Venus. Well, I've talked about Venus and Capricorn. That's just basically going for the manifesting. Let's focus in on the moon in Virgo. Virgo energy at the highest is divine order, and it helps to eliminate things that don't work. It's, the typical cut the wheat from the chaff, energy. It's ruled by Mercury, and it's headed towards the trine to Mercury. But first we get the trine to Venus that helps you focus in on what you really do want. Virgo is willing to work. It can be fussy. It can worry about things. It can be a little hyper vigilant, hyper critical. We have to be careful of that. But with this flow of energy to Venus, I would say that it's great for dedicating ourselves to figuring out the most efficient way it's good for health. It's good for, anything concrete in the physical realm, because it's an earth sign. It's good for precision. It's good for, with this combination here, being very self-responsible, because you want to put out quality work. If you're into the tarot, just think of the Hermit, and because that is ruled by Virgo, but also think of the Eight of Pentacles is what I'm thinking. That quality control. But let go of being, perfect. But there's definitely the flow of useful energy that will help us get somewhere. And we don't mind being alone and working alone today either. The only thing we don't like when the moon's in Virgo is chaos. But I don't see any reason for fearing that. It's just that, I think that we're going to be working hard on Wednesday. And but let go of being perfect. So these other aspects are still there. They're the same. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, because I'm not seeing any other. It just looks to me like a good day to get a lot done. And if you're not getting a lot physically done, you can at least organize, right? Because Virgo's great for order and scheduling. And writing. Remember, it's ruled by Mercury, so all communications and writing. Now, the moon in Virgo on Thursday is still, it's at 14 degrees today. We have the aspect of the architect going on here. Notice that, right? So there's the moon that can help us build something of value from the wisdom of the past that can flow into a beautiful, free way. This is very inventive here, involving Uranus there. So there could be some breakthroughs that come that are inventive. And I've been saying for years, with Uranus in Taurus, we can expect inventions that have to do with safety. So that's good. And notice, so remember how I was saying that the trine was moving towards Mercury? Well, here it is. Okay, so that 12 degrees. And then over to the north node, that 12 degrees there. So we have a grand Earth trine. So this is a great day for getting things done. And notice this kite formation here. So this is all pointing to the wisdom of the past. This, I bet you anything, something's going to come out in the news about all the investigations. It's like they're pulling things together, and they're putting, well, if it doesn't come out, if we don't see it, we have to trust that they're working on it. Because remember, there's that finger of fate going on, right? And now the moon's involved in creating this kite aspect for the entire day. That's beautiful. We have the square. So the moon is illuminating something, and that something is in relationship with communications. And I don't know, who has a Gemini sun that used to be, well, who was illegally put into office, I think, but, there's that. Initials DJT, right? Let's see. I'm not going to mess around with this. That aspect is so weak. To Pluto, that's no big deal. Okay, there's a double. Whoa, you guys. It's hard to see in the background, but so notice how all week long. Here, let me go back to the first chart. See what I have in yellow here? The aspect of the architect, or I'm sorry, what am I saying? The yod, the finger of fate, that's all week. Well, there's another one. Here, I'll draw it in here in yellow. So here's the one we have going on, but there's another one going here as well, right? We have two of them for today, for Thursday. And this one is at the apex of Mars. Mars spinning up that information, articulating the news, the details that have come out, and with the in conjunct up to the south node, it has to do with the past, and Mercury, Mercury that has brought through some concrete facts, right? Because Mercury's all about facts. Just the facts, ma'am, we've got going on here, right? My friend Jean said the dragnet one day. She was texting me, or it might have been one night. The dragnet? What about, there's a dragnet going on with Jack Smith. Yeah, that could very well come through today. And then we also have the moon. See how it's at 14 degrees, and Neptune's up here at 22. Jupiter's at 29. But we have this building opposition to Neptune. So the moon opposing Neptune brings in the energy and consciousness of, again, with the facts, because we have that flow, and breaking through. No more lies, no more playing victim, no more victim consciousness. That's what these dirty, corrupt politicians do. They actually victimize other people, but then when justice comes down, then it's a witch hunt. God, I don't think so. Okay, so that I feel complete there with Thursday. Friday, the moon is still in Virgo. And now, like I said, we do have that opposition to Jupiter. So something has blown up. Something has gotten bigger. I'm thinking that it has to do with information and the details and the facts, and it's written down. I really do think that, I could be wrong, but I really do think that the J6 committee will be successful in getting their report out in time. And now the moon is also, so we have a breakthrough of information that helps to heal the past, and especially with anyone who's trying to act like a victim. That just doesn't work. And then we have the trine to Pluto and the sextile to Jupiter. So there we have the aspect of the architect between these three planets. And Pluto's up here at the apex point. And that's very powerful. Pluto's powerful. In Capricorn, we're talking the government and corrupt politicians, and there's the flow of information that's articulated very well in great detail, and I would say written out in all the perfect words that help us to see the big picture. The big picture. Yeah. And I will talk about this little, well, actually, let's do this one first. So 26 degrees, 24 degrees, we have a square to the sun, moon square sun, within the mutable quality of Virgo and Sag. And remember, mutable disseminates, it brings things together. And so, again, the truth and the written word, yeah. So for you guys personally, though, if you are, because, you know, we have so many great, see that aspect of the architect that's still there from the South Node. This is all, here, I'll draw it out real quick. This energy here is fantastic for manifesting what you want in the future from the wisdom that you've gleaned from the past. So that's there, as well as the breakthrough, the double breakthrough, right? Because the moon is in an opposition to not just Jupiter, but also Neptune there, right here. That's great. But just let go of feeling like a victim. Know that you create your own reality, maybe not to every single detail, but to a good enough detail, and to not beat yourself up when things don't go well. And remember, we have that healing aspect all week long and beyond. This Chiron in conjunct the South Node, that lasts until, I remember looking that up, until January 9th or 10th, somewhere in there. So that's great for healing the past. But this, you know, moving forward with something much better is on the table for all week. And then this little sesquisquare here from the moon to Uranus, or the moon to the North Node. And I like this, there's a stubborn holding on to the facts to get to the forward motion, to get to where we need to go. So that's good. I like stubborn. Oh, and there's another one. This one requires action, though. This is the semi-square between the moon and the South Node. So we really know that action needs to be taken to transform the past. And that's always the case. But sometimes you're sitting with it and figuring out the best way. And that's not the case with Friday. It requires action. And I drew in just to remind, but I already did, that, you know, we have this aspect all week. The moon is now in Libra Saturday morning, and it's in a trine to Mars. So moon trine Mars is a nice, easy flow. This is great for talking and making decisions, weighing, you know, all the possibilities, and then making decisions, getting the facts, listening, making decisions. But we do have a square up to Mercury and Venus, this double square here to the moon. Yeah, this could be a little challenging. This is a nice flow. There's a lot of talking, I would say, but then when it comes to the actions, that's what you're going to figure out. Do their actions match their words? And if they don't, then they're just lying, right? Doesn't mean they're liars forever, but they lied this one time. And then there's a confrontation that will come from that because it's wounding. It feels traumatic to try and trust someone who is saying one thing but then doing another. And notice it's a T-square going on up here between Mercury and Venus. So again, by this point, by the end of the week, if you're in relationships or any relationship where somebody is just not doing what they've said that they were going to do, maybe they've promised you something, maybe it's a boss who has promised a raise or a promotion or both, maybe it's a spouse or a friend or a partner of any type, or maybe it was your kid that promised they'd clean their room and do their laundry by Friday night, and Saturday it's still not done because they went out and partied. That kind of stuff. There's trouble. There's trouble brewing with this. Yeah, especially with the backdrop of all the other aspects for the week. And that little semi-square that's still there from the past, if it's like, something that wasn't done in the past and they said they were going to, but then they've been stubbornly fixated on whatever they wanted to, the sun now reveals the fact that action needs to be taken. A semi-square needs action in order to work it through. And you can see the aspect of the architect here from the South Node and to Uranus and the North Node, and then up to Mercury and Venus. Same thing, and Mercury and Venus are up at the bucket point, where, again, it's what do you really want? Are you willing to invest in it and keep thinking about it and work it through, communicate about it, get the messages to bring it through so that it can be released into the world? Or is this more about, because it very well can be both, where you're working from the wisdom from the past, and you really, because Venus rules Taurus, but Taurus and Scorpio is the polarity of really wanting something. Scorpio can be about desire, and then Taurus can be about having. So what do we really want to have, and what are we willing to invest in and do and talk about and think about and work? I mean, Mercury is all about commerce, and Mercury even rules like the vote. I know we're all done voting, and thank God Warnock got in, but I'm sorry. Thank you to all the. Well, God's like, hey, we'll do whatever. But you guys, thank you to everyone all the people that went out and knocked on doors, all the people that did, all that volunteer work, and to Raphael Warnock himself, who just never gave up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because it makes a big difference. So anyway, with Mercury ruling commerce, Venus ruling money, and Capricorn has everything to do with control and being more conservative and disciplined and responsible, serious. And up at the T-square point, I'm thinking, again, this has everything to do with, are the people you're involved with on any level walking their talk, doing what they say they'll be doing, or doing what they have said that they would be doing, And with the Sun square Neptune and Jupiter here, there's healing that can come from a blow up where you're tired of being duped and you decide to just go on your own merry way because you're tired of being in this place where you've been victimized, where somebody has taken advantage, and there's a fight. All of this. Yeah, and with Pluto in this, so Pluto here, in the sesqui square here down to Mars, that also brings in that quality of stubbornly holding on to what is right because it's your integrity that you're fighting for. It's your own inner authority, and you don't like being taken advantage of if that's the case. So there can be it's a good stubborn aspect here, I would say. Now, if you're coming at from the wrong side, like if you're a corrupt politician, then this could be the spin of more lies because they won't let go. But it's okay. You can lie yourself all the way into that jail cell for all I care. Doesn't matter to me as long as you're in the jail cell. Club Fed or Leavenworth or wherever. I don't care. Just out of the control of over people is what concerns me. Let's see, everything else is the same, I think. Maybe not. 2215. No, it's Jupiter. It's okay, so Jupiter, semi-square, Uranus. Yeah. Again, the truth that we can all see, and we want the breakthrough, and action is needed in order to have the breakthrough. The awareness, action, awareness, yeah. I feel like this, on the political level, we, especially with Jupiter in that, look at that ripe degree. There's no 30 degrees in the zodiac. It just goes 0 to 29. It's a 30-degree span, but 0 to 29. It's only 15 more minutes. Like I said, Jupiter will move into Aries on the 20th. So we don't have much longer. Uranus, so this is going beyond, because this is the 17th. This is going beyond the week. This will flow into next week as well. And this is the action that is needed for us to break free, to get what we want. And things are going to really move forward next week when Jupiter moves into Aries. Yeah, and as you can see, Jupiter will start moving towards Chiron, like it was before it went retrograde. But it'll when Jupiter hits Chiron, there can be some really beautiful healing. Whatever you've been working on so hard can definitely clear out or clear up or come through. So other than that, everything is still the same. Oh, no, wait, hold on. There's one more little one. This inconjunct here to the moon, and then into the north node right here. See how we have that 9 degrees and 12, almost 13 there. No, because the nodes go backwards. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, but that's what's making it tight. There we go. So there's almost a 3-degree orb, but it's bringing it in. So from Saturday morning all through Saturday night, this will be in effect, or Saturday late afternoon, I would say at least. Let's just say evening. The relationship, what's the word I want to, I hope it's not commiseration, but relationship, considering the direction that a relationship is going in is on the table. So again, can we trust? If not, we're creating a position or a possibility for betrayal, Nobody likes that. The moon is weighing and considering all those options when it's in that inconjunct to the North Node. Because remember, the North Node is the direction we're going. Do we want to go with somebody who betrays us? Well, I don't think so. But yeah, so decisions, options, balancing things out, the bridge to the direction you want to go. You have to put yourself in the middle of that bridge, and is that person there in the middle of the bridge with you, or have they lied to you one too many times and it's time to just go over the bridge without them, because there is that possibility. Especially remember with that backdrop here of that, finger of fate with that point to the past, right? So again, it's like, not again, I haven't said this yet. If it looks like a duck, and it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Yeah. And you deserve so much better, but I love ducks. Oh my goodness. Who doesn't love ducks? So that's it for this week, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week and beyond, and just always sending you big hugs. Okay, bye.